All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is July 27th, 2020. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Participating today by video conference, by WebEx, is Commissioner Fan and Commissioner Ford, who can both be seen on the video. Other staff attending the meeting would be Councilor Meyerhoff, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Roberts, and myself, Secretary of the Authority Donahue. We're meeting today to consider 5 requests from Council's office for summary orders of suspension. The first item, 787Z, Queens OP 1302767, Grand Astoria Inc.
Good afternoon, members. This is Kayla O'Donnell on behalf of Council's office. Council's office is seeking an emergency summary order of suspension for licensee Grand Astoria Inc., doing business as the Grand, as this licensee has violated several executive orders and committed numerous ABCL violations. The license was issued on September 29, 2017 to operate a restaurant in Astoria, Queens. This investigation began after the SLA received more than a dozen complaints that the licensee was violating the governor's orders. On July 23rd, SLA investigator Stravali visited the licensed premises and observed at least 12 patrons consuming alcoholic beverages while standing, lingering, and milling about. These observations were made after the mayor's 11 p.m. curfew. Not only has the principal been warned about serving patrons after 11 p.m., but even admitted to investigator Stravali that he was previously warned about this just 2 days prior. The investigator observed a security guard letting patrons leave with alcoholic beverages in open containers. This security guard's license expired on June 7th, and there was not a security guard contract on site, both violations of the ABCL. Additionally, as the photos in the record before you reflect, an employee was observed improperly wearing a face mask. It was not covering his nose. The investigator conducted an inspection of the licensed premises and found uninspected and improperly mounted fire extinguishers, more than 14 unsecured gas tanks, and improperly posted signs, including their liquor license. As the photos reflect, one of the fire extinguishers hadn't been inspected in 14 years. The investigator also found numerous pre-mixed beverages. As the photos depict, there is even a bottle of Cruisin' rum, which has tape over it, and the word mojito is written on the tape. The licensee has been charged with violating executive orders 202.38, 202.43, and 202.16, as well as failing to supervise the premises, unlicensed security guards, books and records, unmounted fire extinguishers, uninspected fire extinguishers, unsecured gas tanks, pre-mixing, and improperly displaying the liquor license. The licensee's indifference to both the governor's executive orders and the ABCL is undeniable. Thus, this licensee can't be trusted to follow the law even when reducing the spread of a deadly virus depends on it. As such, continuing to allow the licensee to operate while the charges are litigated would endanger the health, welfare, and safety of the inhabitants of the area of the licensed premises, as well as the community as a whole. In consideration of them, immediate action in the form of an emergency summary order of suspension is required. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan, any questions?
No, I do not have any questions.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions either.
All right, then with that, I'll call for your vote. Commissioner Fan?
This licensee has committed multiple violations of the governor's executive order by allowing improper service, improper mask wearing, and lots of other SLA and ABC law violations pertaining to fire safety and health code related items. This is a waste of a valuable investigative resource of our agency, and due to imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, I'm voting to impose an emergency order of summary suspension on this license.
Commissioner Ford?
This place has so many other existing public health and safety violations that I kind of appreciate them for violating executive order to bring this to our attention. This place shouldn't be open. 33 violations identified, 7 criminal court summonses issued by the New York City Sheriff and a cease and desist order from the New York City Department of Transportation for outside dining, operating past curfew after being warned about it 2 days prior, employees and patrons not wearing masks, security alerting patrons to the presence of the SLA and law enforcement, so many other health violations, extinguishers back to 2007 without recent inspections, as Counselor said, unsecured tanks in the basement, electrical boxes, so forth and so on. For these and many other reasons, not to mention executive order violations, I vote to summarily suspend.
Thank you.
Next item I have is 787 AA. It's Queens OP 1134073, El Paso Cafe Incorporated.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Officer Counsel submits this licensee, El Paso Caf Inc., located at 8705 Northern Boulevard in Jackson Heights, to members of the authority to consider an emergency order suspension of their retail on-premise license pursuant to Section 4013 of the State Administrative Act. El Paso Corp. was issued an OP license on January 3rd of 2003 to operate as a tavern and tapas with jukebox, no dancing, no security guards. Sole principal is Luz Adriana, and the establishment is located in a mixed area, predominantly residential. Recently, the SLA received information that after being warned on at least 3 occasions by members of the PD and the task force, along with the prior notice of pleading that was served just on July, about 2 weeks ago, the establishment has been allowing their patrons to purchase alcohol beverage in violation of the guidelines on these things promulgated by the SLA in connection with the government. This type of conduct would include insanity, premises, employees not wearing masks, not wearing their masks while they're seated.
You're trailing off, Mike, a little bit.
I'm sorry.
You're a little hard to hear, so please speak up or closer to a mic.
Okay. The above mentioned conduct has become the police department as well. Is that better?
No. I think it's your audio connection.
Are you on a computer or phone?
I'm on.
Are you still breaking up, Mike? We couldn't even hear you that time.
I'm currently on an iPad. Is that better?
Yes, that sounds better.
All right.
Okay. I'll move along. This type of conduct is shown to be dangerous to the public health and safety. And despite repeated warnings from the police department and the task force, the licensee continues to operate in the same manner.
1 moment.
With respect to the prior pleading, on June 10, 2020, the licensee was observed allowing their patrons to congregate and drink in front of the premises without food. The police officer gave the licensee a warning regarding sealed containers and the food requirement, no congregation about the property. On June 21st at about 12:45 a.m. after curfew, 2 separate occasions, patrons were observed exiting the premises with open containers and without food. And once again, on June 27th, after curfew at 11, there was a large group of patrons congregating in front of the premises. Multiple patrons were seated at the table and standing on the sidewalk in front of the location. And patrons were observed with clear plastic cups of what appeared to be alcohol. Despite that notice of pleading that was served on July 8th, along with the previous warnings, on July 18th, 11 people were observed congregating and drinking beverages outside the premises without social distancing. 2 people were observed standing by a takeout window with unsealed beverages. Another patron was observed holding a beer using a FedEx box as a table. That was at approximately 9:13 p.m. At about 11:36 p.m., the task force returned. This time was after curfew. And there were 25 patrons congregating and lingering in front of the premises without social distancing. The premises maintains also a walk-up bar window, and employees were not wearing face masks. Patrons who were standing in front of the premises were not wearing masks. There were at least 16 people in total that were not wearing. Based on the police records we've reviewed, discussion with law enforcement and the SLA National Council Office has commenced the revocation proceeding against the subject licensee. The guidance and regulations on the EO have been in place for months. To say that they didn't know about it is disingenuous. And a recent visit at the location on July 18th revealed the licensee has done nothing to change the code of operation. The executive orders were designed to prevent the spread of a deadly virus. This licensee poses an imminent risk to the public health. We respectfully request the members summarily suspend this license. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan, any questions?
Hi, Mike. Thank you for your presentation. I just have a quick question. For the violations that happened in June, are there pending charges or settled matters or anything?
There's a pending notice of pleading. It was served on July 8th, and to date, we have not yet received an answer.
Okay. And that was including activities on what days?
June 10th, June 21st, and June 27th.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, then I'll turn to both of you for your vote. Commissioner Fan.
This licensee has clearly committed multiple violations of the governor's executive order by allowing service outside, basically standing bar on the street, and continue to provide service past the 11 p.m. curfew. You know, it's very dangerous for people to be drinking outside in large groups with no mask and no food. And this licensee has clearly been warned multiple times and presumably have already received some pending charges in violation of the same laws. He's clearly disregarding what the authority is trying to do, and it's become a waste of valuable investigative resource. And therefore, I vote to summarily suspend due to imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare.
Commissioner Ford.
On June 10th, they were warned about service inside. On June 21st, they were warned about service inside. On June 27th, outside service without face masks, failed to exercise supervision. And on July 18th, service inside again. Violations for social distancing and open container laws, face mask violations, patrons spread out over 100 feet from the licensed premises, and again, failure to exercise supervision. So I vote to summarily suspend this license as well.
The next item is 787 BB, Queens OP 1304714, New York Romanticos Inc.
What was that one again? I'm sorry.
It's 787 BB, NY Romanticos Inc.
Oh, Romanticos, okay. Okay, thank you.
Who is presenting? I think that's Bill Brennan. Is he there?
Bill, you're there. I have him as a participant. I haven't seen his. All right, let's skip over that one for a second. All right, we're going to do then 787CC, which is Queens RW 1313266, Cancun and Cancun Corp.
Good afternoon, members. Mark Faring presenting for Council's office. This is Cancun and Cancun Corp. It is an RW license. It was first licensed on March 27th, 2019. It has a 2 a.m. closing time condition. In that short time period of licensure, it has become a chronic after-hours place. On July 4th, 2020, the NYPD task force visited at 2:10 a.m. and found numerous customers seated outside well after the New York City 11 p.m. emergency closing time for outdoor dining, and also in violation of the SLA's closing time condition. On July 24th, 2020, they again found customers outside at tables after 11 p.m. and an employee with no face mask. On July 25th, 2020, an SLA investigator and the Roosevelt Avenue Task Force, NYPD, while on executive order patrol, found patrons sitting inside the establishment. The manager blocked the investigator's path while waitresses ran to tell patrons to leave through a back door. Numerous employees and patrons were found without masks and without social distancing. Even though it has a beer and wine license, hard liquor was found on the premises. In fact, the cashier was caught hiding the liquor in a cabinet. There was no New York forward reopening plan on file, no DOT permit for outdoor dining, and the licensee had set up tents and tables on the sidewalk without the required 8-foot clearance. This is the licensee's 8th disciplinary case in 16 months. Just last month, the full board imposed a $5,000 civil penalty for remaining open until 5 a.m. The 5 open cases contained 46 charges. With this case and its 12 new charges, there will be 58 total charges that are open and pending. In summary, this case has violations of the executive orders 202.3, 202.16, 202.38, and 202.43. We have violations of the outdoor dining mayor's executive order at 11 p.m. closing, violations of the closing time condition on the license, failure to permit inspection, unlicensed storage, books and records, failure to supervise, and various fire safety rules and regulations. In summary, Council's office respectfully requests that an emergency summary order of suspension be issued to protect the public health, welfare, and safety.
Commissioner Fan, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
Counselor, you said they have 58 open charges pending. Is that what you said?
With this case, yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Then I'll turn to Commissioner Fan for her vote.
This licensee has committed multiple violations of the governor's executive order. It already has 46 pending charges. As council pointed out, that involves various ABC laws, and this licensee continue to violate the executive orders by allowing an illegal sidewalk, and that the employees are not wearing proper masks, service past curfew, service past his initial closing time, and endless indoor service that is not allowable. This establishment is a waste of valuable investigative resource, and this licensee is clearly disregarding the laws that this authority seeks to enforce. And due to the imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, I'm voting to impose an emergency order of summary suspension on this license.
Commissioner Ford.
This licensee is chronically open after hours. They've been caught as late as 5 a.m. that we know of. 8th disciplinary case in 16 months, 58 open charges pending, including this case. Open outdoors past curfew on 7/24, 7/25, indoor consumption, employees not wearing masks, patrons standing, ignoring social distancing, hard liquor when the LP is beer and wine only was on site. Manager refused to permit inspection, no books and records. And again, as mentioned, they did not have a valid NYC DOT permit for outdoor dining with less than 8 feet of sidewalk clearance not there. Several other health safety violations, including electrical. For those and all the other reasons that Commissioner Fan mentioned, I vote to summarily suspend.
Okay, then, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, 787DD, Queens OP 1283948, CNS Gourmet Meals and Deli, Inc.
Good afternoon, members. Jamie Gallagher, appearing on behalf of Council's Office. This matter is being brought before you today for consideration of an emergency summary order of suspension pursuant to Section 401 sub 3 of the State Administrative Procedure Act. It is submitted that the evidence presented to you in the form of investigative reports and photographs demonstrates that the public's health, safety, and welfare imperatively require emergency action against the licensed premises and warrants an emergency summary order of suspension. The licensee is CNS Gourmet Meals and Deli, doing business as the Pomeroy. It's located at 36-12 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. The license was issued on September 24th of 2015. The method of operation is a restaurant licensed to serve beer, wine, and liquor. The authority is in receipt of evidence that the licensee has been in violation of multiple executive orders on at least 2 dates. On July 19th of 2020, members of the governor's executive task force visited the premises at approximately 10:49 p.m. During their visit, they observed 3 staff not wearing face masks while working, one of whom claimed to be the owner. We'll talk more about that in a moment. A gathering of 5 to 6 people had congregated in the street and sidewalk within 100 feet of the Pomeroy, consuming alcoholic beverages from open containers. The staff was serving drinks with no lids and notably with no accompanying food, permitting the premises to act like a tavern and allow congregating. Patrons seated at tables in front of the premises appear to be less than 6 feet apart. The task force investigators entered the premises and spoke with Thomas Conway, who identified himself as the owner. He was advised that he was in violation of the executive orders and was given a copy of the notice and warning. It should be noted that Thomas Conway is not listed on the license. On July 23rd, members of the task force again visited the premises and, despite prior warning, again observed multiple executive order violations, this time with a larger crowd. On this particular occasion, they observed a group of over 15 customers standing, it's more than 15, standing and congregating within the business seating area in violation of Executive Order 202.38. The task force investigators observed this behavior continuing for a period of approximately 30 minutes or longer, so the condition was not transient. Photos show that patrons of the premises were spilling over onto the sidewalk in front of the nail salon to the left of the establishment and also appear to be standing and congregating in front of a neighboring unlicensed business to the right, some of whom appear to have their masks down, one of whom at least clearly has a drink in hand. Tables within the licensed outdoor area appear crowded and inadequately spaced. The executive order task force investigators again asked to speak to whoever was in charge and were greeted by Thomas Conway again, who again identified himself as the owner. He was advised that the premises was in violation of the executive orders. The executive orders in question have been written to allow premises to open and patrons to be served in a manner consistent with safe practices and guidance issued by the Department of Health to prevent the spread of a deadly virus. Maskless employees, congregating of persons in front of the premises, consuming beverages in open containers without food, mingling, and improperly distanced tables all increase the risk of viral spread and constitute an unsafe and dangerous condition that directly and immediately impacts the health, welfare, and safety of the patrons, staff, and public at large. that the individual in charge claiming to be the owner was warned on a previous occasion and continued to violate the executive orders establishes that the members may have no confidence that the premises is likely to comply with the law going forward. The person purported to be the owner, again, is not on the license. The actual licensee has not been on site. And the premises method of operation indicates that they will not have a manager. It is unknown who Thomas Conway actually is. He's clearly not adequately supervising the premises. The license principals in this way, among many others, are failing to also adequately supervise the premises. Counsel's office has commenced a revocation proceeding against the licensee, charging 8 counts of the alcoholic beverage control law, including 2 counts of failure to supervise, 1 count of 202.16, failure for the employees to wear masks, 1 count of 202.52 for service of alcoholic beverages without food on July 19th, 1 count of 202.43 on July 19th for individuals congregating on the sidewalks, 1 count of 202.38 on the 19th for individuals congregating, again, outside the premises, 202.38, 202.43 for July 23rd as well. In consideration of that, we would submit that emergency summary suspension is warranted.
Tom, are you there?
I forgot I muted my line. I apologize. I'm still working with a flip phone. Okay, Commissioner Fan, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Ford?
Are there any charges here for indoor service in this case?
No indoor service charges.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
All right, then I'll call for your votes then. Commissioner Fan?
We're still in time of a pandemic. I would think that anybody who's actually operating a licensed premise right now would be there themselves and really try to take care of his employees and his customers. It seems like we're dealing with a case of availing here, a person who's claiming to be owner, as Ms. Gallagher pointed out, who himself is wearing no mask and presenting no food to his customers, and there are no lids on the drinks, no social distancing among patrons. I think that's sufficient reason enough to impose the emergency order of summary suspension because of imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare.
Commissioner Ford?
For all those reasons and more, I vote to summarily suspend as well.
Okay then, thank you both.
Thank you.
Mr. Brennan, have you joined us?
Yeah, I believe he's on the phone, Tom.
Yes, Secretary Donahue, Mr. Brennan is here.
Okay, then the next item, we call the item 787 BB, Queens OP 1304714, New York Romanticos Inc.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, Commissioner Ford. I'm here today on the Council's office to request the board summarily suspend licensee New York Romantics Inc. for blatantly violating an executive order 202.3, 202.16, section 9 NYCRR 48.2, the rules of the authority. New York Romantics Inc., DBA Romantics, serial number 1304714, is located at 7607 Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights, New York. They have been licensed since 2017 as a restaurant serving beer, wine, and liquor. On July 23rd of this year, investigator Matthew Davis made an inspection of the licensed premises. The investigator observed at least 13 individuals drinking inside of the licensed premises, blatantly violating the governor's executive order 202.3 and the posted NYSLA guidance regarding service inside the premises. Investigator Davis also observed at least 5 other patrons of the licensed premises receive a to-go order of an alcoholic beverage without receiving any food, also blatantly violating Governor's Executive Order 202.3 and the SLA guidance. While in the licensed premises, Investigator Davis observed at least 2 employees of the licensed premises were working without wearing face masks in violation of the Governor's Executive Order 202.16 and the SLA guidance. Shockingly, these employees included both the manager of the licensed premises and security personnel. During his inspection, Investigator Davis took a number of pictures that included images of the large crowd inside the premises, numerous drinks on the bar, patrons sitting at the bar with beverages in front of them, as well as patrons standing by the bar unseated. All of this occurred even though the manager was present in the licensed premises. The licensee clearly failed to supervise the premises on July 23rd, 2020, allowing numerous violations to occur and put the public's health and safety at risk. It's clear that the licensee showed blatant disregard for the executive orders and the authorities' rule. In doing so, the licensee put not only their patrons at risk during this pandemic, but put the community and the public at large at risk. The licensee put their own profit over the public's health, safety, and well-being. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the board issue an order imposing a summary suspension in order to protect the public's safety and well-being.
Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
All right, then I'm going to call for your votes. Commissioner Fan.
As Council Brennan mentioned, this licensee has committed multiple violations of the Governor's executive order by allowing indoor service and to-go orders that have drinks only with no food, and essentially not supervising his establishment with PPE and patrons gathering. This establishment is clearly disregarding standing laws surrounding the pandemic, and due to imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, I am voting to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
I'll just only add to that the manager and security weren't wearing masks. So for that reason, and as Commissioner Fan has already stated, I vote to summarily suspend.
All right, thank you. I have no other items on the calendar. Council, do you have any other items to bring to the board's attention?
No, I think that's all we have. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, members.
Nobody leave yet. Hold on for a second. I would ask that council and the 2 commissioners stay on the call after I end the meeting. I have a ministerial matter that has nothing to do with anything going to the full board, but I thought since I had both of you there, I would try to take care of it. So I'm going to end the meeting now, end the recording and the live stream. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.